Hey Gemini. Hey, welcome to you and welcome to your reading. All right, so I have a bunch of oracle cards just spread out on my tarot table here. We're gonna go ahead and pull one of these to set the theme for your reading. I'll also mention here, as I was getting ready to start the recording, I had a very strong smell of crayons coming through. So I don't know if one of you is currently using crayons or have just purchased crayons, or I don't know, or seeing crayons. It feels like something about crayons is important for someone, and this is a confirmation that this is your reading today. Okay. Also, y'all, I'm in the middle of moving like apartments because of my ongoing saga around the Los Angeles wildfires and kind of what I'm going through with that. But I cut my hand while moving, so you're gonna see my poor band-aid today on my finger. But so anyway, you're gonna notice that. Yeah, I'm in the middle of my own journey. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. Okay, Spirit Team, let's grab this card for Gemini. These two. Okay, they actually pulled two cards for you, Gemini, so I have two. Yeah, we have two. I heard my dog there. All right, so let's see what these are. Okay, so the first one we have is hedge. Okay, and this card says potential boundaries and indecision. Is this upright? Yes. Okay. Something about the indecision's coming through really strong here. The other one we have is watering can. Okay, and this card says asking for help, sharing burdens. Is this upright? Is it upright? No, it's not upright. That one's in reverse. Okay, I feel like there's actually, yeah, you're in a moment of indecision. I feel like there actually is an important decision that you're getting ready to make. And I feel like you've actually been like wanting spiritual help with it, like to understand what direction to take, just like you would when you're traveling down this hedge. Like there's two different paths here. I'm getting the sense there may be a couple of options for you. I'm seeing the Seven of Cups in my mind's eye. But I think you've been asking yourself and then wanting a message from Spirit around what to do or where to go. And so I feel like this message is going to address that for those of you who have been looking for some help with this decision. Okay, is there anything else? Okay, yeah, let's get into it. So, okay, so this feels really clear to me for whatever reason. I feel like you've been asking for spiritual support or asking for help, and this may have been subconscious. Oh, I'm noticing I almost said self-conscious there. I actually do think you're self-conscious to ask others about how to proceed with this situation you're in right now. I feel like there's been a bit of self-consciousness, which is why we're getting the asking help for others in reverse. I feel like there's a hesitation to ask others, and so you've just kind of been wanting some spiritual support, like hopefully I get a message about what to do with this. Well, this is your message, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. Yeah, Spirit has some guidance for you today, it seems like. Yeah, this feels like a really interesting energy. Okay, one moment, they're having me cut the deck. Spirit, what is going well for Gemini? Okay, and this reading applies for the next 2 weeks from whenever it's finding you. 2 weeks? Okay, yes, this one's for 2 weeks. When these decisions coming up. I do want to ask what's going well for you, and then we're going to dive right into the message and what's on top. What's going well for Gemini? Oh, okay. Four of Swords. We have the Four of Swords in reverse. Okay, so we have the Four of Swords in reverse. Okay, I feel like currently this Four of Swords upright is coming in with an indecision, kind of like your hands are tied, like you're seeing here with the snake and the sword. It's like your hands are tied around like making a decision about going in a specific direction or whatever it is you need to decide about, okay? And coming in reverse, it's almost like there's a coming undone, and like your hands are untied here is specifically what I'm seeing. And this is coming in with an energy of action for whatever reason. Now, in the traditional like sense of the Four of Swords upright, this card is a card of like rest, it's relaxation, it can be a bit contemplative, it can be like very resting in kind of faith. In the reverse, it's actually coming in as it's kind of like you're finally unstuck from something, and you're able to now like take action moving forward. Now there's something around faith coming through here, which is really strong. It's almost like a lack of faith is here as well. That feels really strong to whatever this decision is. I don't know that you have full confidence in either one of the paths you have to take, one of the decisions you have to make, or maybe someone or something you're working with. That feels really strong. And so I get that's why the self-conscious, and it's really hard to ask for help right now. You want this card? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Judgment. Yep. And I think that's why you're using your discernment around who you ask around this, because I think this may be around, for someone, I'm catching like a work scenario come in, needing to be really like cautious or conscientious about how you approach this situation, and discernment around who you tell or who you consult for advice. Okay, so that's coming in really strong here. Now that doesn't have to be your situation at all. That's just a specific one coming through from Spirit. That's for someone or a small group of people here who are watching this reading. Either way, it feels like, I don't know if it's maybe this like person, place, or thing that's part of this situation. For someone, I am sensing this may be around a connection of some sort, and feeling a little bit like hesitant to ask your friend group because those may overlap. Okay, so I get that. That's here. Spirit hears you. And again, that's what this reading is going to talk about in a very general sense. Okay. But in general, again, it doesn't matter what situation specifically you're going through. It just feels like there's an element of needing to like, this is coming through as like walking on eggshells. It's a little bit of like needing to like be, I don't know, walking on eggshells isn't quite right. Although a little bit of that energy, it's kind of like just needing to be careful around who you're asking for help, or who you're asking for advice from, or who you're like consulting with, or who you're actually like extending your energy out to in regards to this decision you're making. And I actually don't think that's a bad thing here. I actually think it's kind of smart, which is why this judgment is coming out upright. It's a little bit in reverse, but I feel like there's a bit of caution here. Yeah, there's definitely some caution here in your energy. Now, is that coming from Spirit? A little bit. This card? Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We have the Five of Wands here. Yeah, there's something here, right? I get the sense that you don't want to inflame this situation. You see the flame on this card. This is a card that usually speaks to conflict or some sort of tension between like people. It usually speaks around, because usually you'd see like a group of people with Five Wands kind of battling it out. So it does speak to people, which is why, like I said, I just don't get the sense that you can ask other people about this as much, or certain people that you may want to. Yeah, because there is some tension here, and I'm just sensing needing to like be really thoughtful. I'm gonna say it that way. Yeah, be really thoughtful around how you're approaching this decision that you're making. Okay, and I get the sense there may be some boundaries that you may need to place within this situation, but also, so that could be, is that a recommendation? A little bit, but yeah, I feel like there's some boundaries that are wanted here, or there's some boundaries you're holding around how you're, again, approaching guidance for this situation and how you want to approach the decision making itself. I'm not sensing anything bad here. I feel like this makes sense. I feel like there's probably a little bit of over caution here, if anything, but I feel like it's coming from a good place. I just, as the way that it's being communicated from Spirit through me to you, it feels like it's coming from a good place. I just like there's something kind of pure about this judgment angel here. Okay, it's coming from like good intentions, but I don't know. What is this about, Spirit? What's on top? What is this conflict or tension or this decision? Can we ask that? Okay, hold on. I think they want to build out a little bit more before we get into that directly. So let's keep going. Ready? This card. Upright and reverse. So here's the next card. Yeah, it says summer, it says expansion, it says growth. Yeah, I feel like that's where you're headed. This feels like where you're headed. I feel like there's something, I don't know if you feel like you've outgrown something, is definitely part of it. Or just, I don't know if there's a feeling here of maybe like something within this connection or situation that just doesn't align anymore. And I think that's why there's this like, the boundaries word on this card keeps getting like highlighted for me. Spirit's like underlining it. For someone, this could be a decision around like, there's something that's coming through as like greener pastures on the other side of like wanting to expand within your career. Again, there's a lot of work stuff coming through here for whatever reason. But like wanting to expand in your career and kind of, I don't know if there's like a little bit of grief here around leaving your existing, it feels like almost like you're trying to switch jobs or switch workplaces or switch like something in that vein. And it just feels like one of these things where you're like, I can't really tell anyone that I'm currently working with that I'm leaving or like I'm going to be putting in my 2 weeks. Yeah, that feels here. That feels very present. Again, that you're like going into a different role, maybe a role that has an expanded scope to it, or is just like, again, an elevation within your career somehow, or again, just meets you in a different way than currently, in whatever like sense of the word that needs to take. This could also be within a connection. I also, again, I'm sensing connections here, a connection or relationship as well, where it's just like, maybe it's like a friendship you've outgrown and you just are not sure how to quite navigate it right now. Or there's a situation that's kind of like bringing you to this moment where you're like, well, I just feel like we've done this before and I just feel kind of done with this cycling of something, or going through this situation over and over. Yeah, there's a wanting to expand here. So interesting. I have like a bad taste in my mouth right now. Yeah, I feel like it's just something where you're just like, I feel like I've outgrown this. There's something about feeling like you've outgrown this, whatever it is. Or there is a little bit of an exhaustion here with the Four of Swords in reverse. A little bit of exhaustion with this too, of like, I just feel like I'm done with this. There's like a kind of a finality that wants to happen here in some way, which is why I feel like the boundaries are coming up. And there's also, they're now showing me the potential word here of like expanding your potential. It's almost like you're cutting off energy into this watering can, like water coming into the watering can, which is connected into that connection or situation or event or workplace or whatever it is. It's like you're kind of like shutting off the valve of the water that would be pouring into this water can. I'm seeing that. That's what Spirit's showing me, the animation of that right now. Okay, I'm seeing 1616 on the clock. So that could be an angel number for you right now as well. You may want to look that up. It's like the sun wants to peek through the clouds here. Again, there's like the sunflowers, it's just like greener pastures that's here. And I feel like you're trying to fly towards it. Like as if you're the bee here, trying to fly towards it. But I just feel like there are certain things that need to be resolved about this current situation. I don't know if some of it's like the feelings you have around it. That definitely feels like part of it. Again, there may be some element of grief, but I also feel like there's something around this boundaries that feels really strong. Okay, let's keep going, Spirit. Let's go in deeper. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This feels like a transition of some sort. Again, you're like right in the middle of like a crossroad point where you might be going this direction, and there's still this other path that you need to like close out somehow. That's so interesting. Two of Swords, Knight of Wands, tarot cards. That's what they're showing me right now. Yeah. Ready? Okay, let's keep going. They're showing that in my mind's eye. This card. Okay, so this is right. All right, so we got the Five of Pentacles. Yep, and the Queen of Wands. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I feel like your instinct is right here. Your instinct feels right here. There's something around this like Queen of Wands. She's very like instinctual, and fire signs are very instinctual. Okay, they really speak to the ways that you instinctually like move forward, but the wands are all about action and moving. So there's something around like, especially because the queens are coming out here too, which speaks to your internal landscape. And I read this as the highest form of the court cards in my matrifocal style of reading tarot. Okay, so I just feel like it's right. Something here feels right. I feel like your instinct is right here, and I do think Spirit's confirming that. The Five of Pentacles is coming out to say like, yeah, something's gonna be like left out in the cold. It's almost, there's an energy here of like walking away from something or moving away from something, or there's like a disconnecting that wants to happen. Now it's interesting because the Five of Pentacles doesn't always get read as a card of like connection or group dynamics, but in this situation, in this reading, it is coming through as that. Like typically you would see two people who are outside like in the cold. You see this building here? There's like a building in the background. In this card, it's two crows, and it's like raining, just like it's raining outside for me right now. Okay, like really hard. It's like pouring down, okay? So I just get the sense there's something about a disconnect coming through here. And it's almost like these two are splitting off, the two that are here. Yeah, I think you're right. I you know, sometimes like that's the way it works when we have to like, it just feels like it's difficult and tough. Like sometimes it's the way it is though, right? Like when we're expanding and we're growing, and we're like evolving or healing, especially if this is on a healing journey or some sort of like up leveling you're doing in any sense, that's exactly what happens. Like we end up in situations where there are certain people, places, and things that just can't come with us. And that's actually where I think you're on the edge of. It feels like something where there's this decision around, can this person, place, or thing come with me? Or, you know, could something have been done differently here? Or is there any way to retain this, any way to keep this? There are things that I feel like you're missing or going to miss, it feels like. There's the Five of Pentacles, there can be kind of Five of Pentacles, Five of Cups, there can be a bit of like grief here as well. It's a little bit, you can see it's a little bit kind of in that energy if you're even just catching it, the vibes off this card, okay? But I do feel like, again, your instinct is right here. I feel like there's also a lot of spiritual support for you. For whatever reason, this is coming through as like a maternal figure right now, just kind of looking down on you. For someone, this could be a grandmother, okay? Looking down on you and kind of saying like, yeah, you're absolutely right. This doesn't align. And we're getting the Six of Pentacles in reverse because I feel like whatever this is, it's out of alignment, okay? Now in the traditional version of the Six of Pentacles upright, you would see like a pair of scales on like a scales, like balance, weighing scales. You would actually see that on the Six of Pentacles card. It feels like, again, it's just kind of like, I am seeing the Justice card a bit in my mind's eye, but it's coming in more with the Judgment energy. It's just like this wasn't meant to follow you. It's not really, it can't follow you. Then the Judgment card, it is a major arcana card, but it also speaks to the ways our souls move on like a much higher level than we can comprehend as humans, okay? That our minds can comprehend specifically. And so I just feel like this is kind of part of the plan. Whatever this is, feels like it's kind of part of the plan for you. I see the decision here, but I do feel like you staying would actually like constrict you, almost like stop your growth, and I feel like it would just drain you. And I feel like there would be a sense of frustration and resentment here if you stayed when you actually want to go, when you actually want to like kind of uncouple from this in a way, or decouple from this, or, you know, it doesn't have to be a person necessarily or people necessarily. Like I said, it could be like an employer or workplace. This could be an organization. This could be around any number of situations. It doesn't have to be with people necessarily, although that's coming through really strongly for, I think, a large portion of you who are watching this. And it just feels like whatever this is that you're in right now, I think you realize that it just can't add to your growth anymore. Now, the Six of Pentacles upright is usually a card of giving. It usually like adds to, it gives out. It's very generous. And I just don't think, I feel like you've learned all you needed to learn here. If I can say that, because that's what it feels like. I'm seeing the Hermit Tarot card in my mind's eye. It's like you've learned all you needed to learn from this situation. That feels right. And I feel like that's your instinct right now. And I feel like there's still this like, well, should I stay or should I go? Or I don't know if it's staying or go necessarily. It doesn't necessarily need to be the decision point, but there's this energy of like, needing to distance your energy from this somehow. Okay, which is why the boundaries keeps coming out really strongly on that hedge card. And again, look, we have the scales on this card. Do you see that? The scales here? Yeah, the scales. Yeah, I just feel like this was all kind of part of the plan. I feel like you instinctually know where to go. I feel like you instinctually know what the answer is here and what the decision is that best aligns with your soul. I feel like there's a little bit of hesitation here. I think you've just been waiting for kind of a sign. This kind of is your sign, okay? You want this card? Yeah, I feel like you've been kind of like stuck in this like kind of logicking a little bit of like, well, if I stay, it's almost like, you know, when you kind of like have to like talk yourself into things, but it causes you to have like a headache. You can tell when you're overthinking something, like you almost like maybe you're overheating from it. Maybe you get headaches like I do if I get too much into my mind. Yeah, the Eight of Swords speaks to the mind. It speaks to limiting beliefs, limiting thoughts. It speaks to like an over-reliance on logic. It speaks to an over-reliance on the mind. Okay, it's almost in direct contrast with this Queen of Wands, because the Queen of Wands is instinctual. The Queen of Wands follows her body. The Queen of Wands follows the movements of her soul. Okay, the Eight of Swords is very logic-y. It likes to come in and try to like, and it's usually coming from a place of I'm going to say ego, but that's not a bad thing. It comes from a place of like survival strategies that we have that keep us stuck in places that feel familiar, even though they may not be the best thing for us. Okay, so there's this kind of phrase that I really like. One of my favorite tarot readers, her name is Tarot by Gabrielle. She says this phrase a lot, and it's exactly it. But sometimes we get ourselves I guess here's how she says. She says the ego likes to keep us in familiar hells versus unfamiliar heavens. And I feel like that's where you want to go towards, is this kind of like unfamiliar heaven, unknown heaven, the uncharted territory that can lead to the sunshine and the bees and the fields and the sunflowers and your growth, ultimately. But I feel like there's been a bit of like holding yourself back. You see the cage here, the bird being caged and blindfolded. I don't know if you see, this bird also has a blindfold in here. It's like this kind of like talking, I feel like you've been trying to like talk yourself into like, I don't know if it's staying in this situation or keeping this connection intact, or it feels like, again, you've been talking yourself into like continuing to be connected to something that's not serving you anymore. Okay, because again, I feel like you're familiar with the Five of Pentacles upright. You're familiar with the energy of just like having to survive, of like being out in the cold, of feeling like drained, Six of Pentacles in reverse, of feeling like, you know, it's never enough. You're used to kind of that energy. That's the familiar hell that we're talking about. And again, that's all a metaphor, okay? But that's the familiar like survival strategies that we end up in. It's places that we know we can survive, even though they're deeply uncomfortable and deeply painful. Like the Eight of Swords leads into the Ten of Swords, which is one of the most, if not the most painful card in tarot. Okay, so by staying here, staying stuck, it leads into the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. But it also leads into, yeah, Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Hold on, this came out for a reason. Hold on. Ten of Pentacles in reverse. The Eight of Swords leads into the Nine of Swords, which leads into the Ten of Swords. Now, the Eight of Swords is around the limiting beliefs. The Nine of Swords tarot card is around sort of the anxiety, the restlessness, the sleeplessness, the almost like missed opportunity that keeps you up at night. Okay, that's what the Nine of Swords specifically is coming through as in this reading. The Ten of Swords, usually you see like a person who's like on the ground with like 10 swords stabbed in their back. It's one of the most painful cards in tarot, and it speaks to the pain of potentially, again, this feels like it's coming through in this reading as a missed opportunity or a missed kind of chance, potential, like we said in that boundaries or hedge card here, the potential for you to experience more in this life, in whatever dimension or domain of your life that this actually applies to. That's what it feels like. So I think what Spirit is trying to say, like, you know where that one path leads. You know where that one path leads that's connected with this Eight of Swords. You logicking yourself into staying or logicking yourself into continuing this very draining energy that you've currently been in. Okay, you know where that path leads. And ultimately, Spirit's confirming it leads to the Ten of Swords. It also leads to, for some of you, the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Now, I don't have those cards out right now. We can pull some more cards for it, but I'll tell you more about the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. The Ten of Pentacles upright is one of the best cards in tarot. It speaks to like foundational stability and security and the feeling, or not even the feeling, it's the kind of construct of being home. Okay, it's foundational. The Ten of Pentacles in reverse is actually deeply unstable. It speaks to like a disruption on any sort of foundational like component in your life, whether that's emotional, physical, financial, materially, whatever domain that speaks to, okay? But that's what it's going to lead to for some of you. That's where that road leads, okay? I think, again, you're in this sort of like decision point of walking one of two ways here, or one of a couple of ways here. And Spirit is asking you to follow your intuition, to follow your body, to follow the pull, to follow the call, the magnetism of what's calling you. That's the unknown, which is connected into summer for you and connected into growth. That's what Spirit's asking you to do, and I feel like that's what your Spirit's asking you to do. Okay, because you already know what's on this other side. You already know what's on this other side. The Eight of Swords, the Five of Pentacles upright, and the Six of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, this is not something energy you want to be in. It's draining, it's frustrating, it's angering. It feels like you missed out on something. It feels like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not in alignment with your soul. You're not like using your life force within your life the way that you want to, and having the experiences you want for your experience here on this earth. Okay, that's what that feels like. So Spirit is asking you to really lean into the energy of the Queen of Wands. Okay, follow the road you're being called towards, even if it feels scary, even if it feels unknown. That's actually a good thing. Particularly in this reading, in general, it's usually a good thing, but in this reading, it's really coming through very strongly. All right, let's pull one more card, Spirit. Do we have any other advice for Gemini? Any other advice for Gemini? Ready? This card. Yeah, they want you to take their... This is exactly what I'm saying. The Fool, upright. This is where they want you. They want you in this energy. And it's interesting because I read the Fool card as connected into Aries, which is a fire sign. The Queen of Wands is also fire. Okay, wands are fire element. Again, they want you to follow your instinct. Okay, now what I really love about the fact that we got the Aries card, and this was actually, the Aries archetype was what was coming through earlier as I was speaking about this, the Queen of Wands in general, and like how fire follows this intuition and instinct. That is actually the Aries archetype itself, okay? Spirit wants you to like bring that into this decision point. So the Aries archetype is it's the moment awareness and attention and intuition come online. It is the moment the child is born into the world and just moves. It knows where to move. The child knows where to move because it knows where to move, because it's exploring the world for the first time. That's the energy of the Fool. Okay, the Fool is taking a leap of faith. This is true faith. Okay, taking a leap of faith, of moving into the unknown. You see their eyes are even closed in this card. You see the rainbow here. They have complete faith that they will land on their feet. They have complete faith of what's on the other side of this. They have complete faith in their spiritual support. The Fool speaks to new beginnings. It speaks to the unknown. The Fool is the 0 card of tarot, okay? It is the unknown, okay? But it is the faith of walking forward into the uncharted territory of that heavenscape that we're talking about versus the hell of what you've already known. Okay. So, I think we're at a good place with this reading. Anything else, Spirit? Okay, do we want an extended? Okay, so Spirit does want an extended. Okay, they want an extended, so we're going to go into an extended with this. I do have the information on the extended in the description box below. I also have information on booking a personal reading with me if you'd like to do that. I am actually asking for support right now from the community. If you'd like to purchase an extended reading or book a personal reading with me, it would deeply help me, as I, like I mentioned earlier, am someone who's been impacted by the Los Angeles wildfires. I have extensive ash and smoke damage in my home that is affecting my health and my dog's health. So we have to move like immediately, which is why I started packing, and you're seeing those boxes in the background. You'll continue to see that in my readings. So any financial support, by supporting your own self, just by doing that, it also helps me in more ways than you can imagine. I also have information on just donating. So if you'd like to donate to someone who's directly impacted by these fires and know that your donation will actually make an impact, I'll have that in the description box below. But Gemini, this feels like a really clear reading and clear message. I hope this caught you at the right moment in time as you're making this decision. And hopefully I think Spirit's really encouraging you to follow your instinct here, to move towards that like expansion that your soul really wants, and to move towards this kind of like fresh new energy that's linked with the unknown, sure, but it feels like it's full of faith, and it feels like it's the right direction for you for some reason. The Fool is one of the best cards in tarot, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead into the extended. I will see you there, but I'm wishing you a lot of luck with this decision, and I hope this has been helpful for you. I'll see you at our next reading, Gemini. Thanks for being here. Okay, bye for now.